is not our intention, blogger, to be a competitor to an IMD or anyone. So we term this, it's a fun way. We love rains.
The challenge here is people assume that you said 3 times rainfall is expected to happen, 2 times it did not happen, only once it happened. So the success rate is 1:3. I mean, there's nothing called success rate here.
December 2015 floods in Chennai, it was not even a low pressure.
Yes. Welcome to The Hindu. I'm your host K. Lakshmi. Today we have with us two individuals who have made inevitable contributions to weather blogging, bringing us close to understanding weather better. They've become household names with their predictions and deep weather analysis, and have earned loyal following over the years. They have significant roles in fostering weather enthusiasts and weather conscious citizens with their alerts and data-backed insight. I welcome Mr. Pradeep John, better known as Tamil Nadu Weatherman, and Mr. Srikanth, who runs weather blog site Chennai Loru Malaikalam or Chennai Rains. Today we'll be discussing something on the most relevant topic and often spoken topic on the deep depression over the Bay of Bengal. So over to you, Mr. John. To start with, can you please throw some light on now that we know the deep depression is going to become deep depression, can you throw some light on its trajectory and whether it's going to have a crossing point close to Tamil Nadu?
Right now it is just below Sri Lanka. So maybe from here it is going to take a west-northwest direction. So it will, most of the cyclones, if you say taken the history, the past cyclones, they don't, very rarely they cross the Sri Lankan landmass and then go into. So most of the time it just deflects or takes a route which avoids Sri Lanka. Not because maybe the portion of the ridge is like that. So it always happens. So it's going to go there and go towards north, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, around close to Delta and central Tamil Nadu coast of Sri Lanka, North Tamil Nadu, North Sri Lanka coast. So maybe that is the where point when you see this convergence of wind is expected to fall over the North Tamil Nadu coast, right from maybe from Delta belt to Chennai. So we expect very good rainfall to happen right from Delta, maybe even parts of Pudukkottai coast or even Ramanathapuram also might get very heavy rainfall. And then from there up to Chennai. So later tomorrow morning 26 is going to be the Delta. Then subsequently the other parts, Kadalur, then Marakanam belts, then finally South Chennai and Chennai Tiruvallur. So it will slowly climb up in latitude.
Will we have rains in interior parts as well this time, or is it going to be concentrated more on the coastal area?
Right now it will be concentrated close to the coastline, because you can see it is going to take a path parallelly, not move inside perpendicular into the coast. So whenever we have seen this pattern, we see that the convergence is mostly associated near the coastline or just interior parts of the districts very close to the coast. So particularly we expect very heavy rains in the coastal districts and as well as the nearby districts also.
So this time we will have some heavy rains in as many coastal parts.
Yes, and maybe we expect the depression maybe as a weakened state, the deep depression. The chances of it becoming a named cyclone, I think it is very border. So not much difference between a deep depression and a named cyclone. So up to 34 knots we call it as a deep depression. If it becomes 35 knots, we call it as a cyclonic storm game. So 1 knot is not going to make maybe a borderline cyclone in case, or is going to remain as a depression or a deep depression itself. So maybe at the time of crossing, it might go inside North Tamil Nadu coast. Maybe at that point of time, North interior Tamil Nadu can get rainfall. So previously we expected some of the scenarios where it is expected to cross the delta area and then move inland. So either way, in the North Tamil Nadu coast, if it goes inside, automatically we will get the interior parts of the states also will get very good rainfall. But the one thing clarity is that the coastal district is going to get very heavy rainfall. Not only one district, right from we can say from Ramanathapuram up to Chennai or Tiruvallur coast.
Mr. Srikanth, who had recently analyzed on cyclones, where you had actually said that there are chances for more of cyclones in the second half of November to hit closer to Tamil Nadu or Sri Lanka coast. Would you want to explain on that? And also another question, also on how many system is this for our state?
So we had the mid-October low pressure that gave rains to parts of Chennai. Then we had Cyclone Dana, and then we had one more low pressure, mid-November.
Mid-November.
So this would be
Mid-November
the
it's almost an depression.
depression.
It's depression.
Mid-October was depression.
Mid-October depression.
Cyclone Dana, the low pressure during mid-November. So that's 3 in all already. This would be the 4th one. So let's see how much do we end up in.
Usually, how many do we get during October to
during
December?
La Nina years, 5 to 7 seems to be the average normally. La Nina years throw up more disturbance compared to El Nino. El Nino years, it's more weaker. We'll have trough of flow type of disturbances. With regard to the question on cyclones, normally, if you look at how cyclones influence the North Indian Ocean, it typically starts north and slowly comes down towards the equator. Basically, the way ITCZ, the Intertropical Convergence Zone, which is during southwest monsoon, we call the monsoon trough as the ITCZ, the area where the heaviest rains happen. That's where the convergence is. So typically, the ITCZ follows the sun. So it moves up and down. So when the ITCZ goes down towards the southern hemisphere summer, October, Andhra, Orissa, that part of India would have the higher probability of cyclones. As we get to November, the number of cyclones that hit Tamil Nadu starts increasing. So if you look at the number of cyclones that have happened during the second fortnight of November, roughly about 40 of them, 19 seem to have impacted the Tamil Nadu coast. So you're talking of nearly 56 and 19, I think 40% odd is what impacts Tamil Nadu. So that's the highest percentage for any fortnight during the what is called as NEM season. Plus, the highest number of cyclones that have happened or impacted Tamil Nadu is during the second fortnight of November. Now, that's one part of the way of looking at it. The second part is you bring Sri Lanka also into equation, like Pradeep explained a little earlier. When the depression or a cyclone influences the eastern coast of Sri Lanka, then part of coastal Tamil Nadu also gets the rains due to the convergence of rain bands and wind convergence, right? So your delta and maybe up to Pondicherry also gets very good rains. So if you take that into account, the eastern coast of Sri Lanka as well into account, between November 1st fortnight and December end, every second cyclone that has formed in Bay of Bengal seemed to have influenced these two parts of the northern peninsular India and Sri Lanka. So that means the probability for us in terms of getting rains through disturbances. We all know that northeast monsoon is primarily a disturbance driven monsoon system, unlike the southwest monsoon. So favorable disturbances, frequent disturbances brings more rainfall events, right? So that's the reason why, even if you look at how the rainfall numbers add up, while the traditional peak is October last and November 1st week, which is closer to the onset, there is a secondary peak which happens around November end and December 1st week. And we even in Chennai, we've seen 2015, 2020, 2021, 2023. There are enough years where we've had heavy rainfall or extremely heavy rainfall.
2020 Nivar.
Right, so
okay, in 2017 October.
So it's not very uncommon or unnatural to have December 1st week
there is a
rains.
secondary peak around November last and December 1st week. I think the problem sometimes with monthly averages is that it evens out the peaks, so we don't know. While IMD maintains a daily average for TN and PDC, there's no system of district-wise daily average. They have. I mean, what they do is they just keep adding the cumulative numbers and give basically a cumulative seasonal performance. But when you start doing it as a daily graph, like how they do for TN and PDC, we will realize that there's a secondary peak around end November and first week of December, primarily because the cyclones start favoring our coast. So, and if you look at even the probability of cyclones going, say, up north, starts fading. October, every second cyclone either goes to Orissa, West Bengal, Myanmar, Bangladesh. Then first week of November, it's shared between Andhra and Tamil Nadu. Second fortnight of November, Tamil Nadu gets the bulk of the share. December, slowly Sri Lanka starts coming into equation. Very rarely you have November cyclones influence Sri Lanka, or October, I think it's practically nil. what happens is, as the IT season goes down, your cyclones also start impacting at low latitudes. That's the reason why second half of the monsoon, that is second fortnight of November and the 2 fortnights of December, from disaster management perspective, I think we should not be what is called as lax. B, even if the first fortnight is bad, which for the past few years we've seen it, October has been very bad. I think 2024 is an exception in the recent years that way, right? So second fortnight, I think we should
be as careful as or as prepared as first fortnight. So that brings me to the question of we are less than a week into December. So how is this December going to be when it comes to northeast monsoon performance?
As far as December is concerned, I think particularly North Tamil Nadu. So as far as Chennai is concerned, this is going to be the major rains, particularly if you're expecting the lakes to get runoff. So all these things we expect. This is the first final major system which needs to help. I don't think any other system in the coming December is going to give a very heavy rainfall consecutive days and then generate inflows. So maybe here and there some spells might happen. Maybe like in the November mid low or such spells might happen, but I don't think it's going to be a major spell for North Tamil Nadu. Maybe above Pondi you can say. Below Pondi, Kadalur, maybe after this, maybe the first week of second week of November, December itself, there might be another circulation or a low pressure which might form and it might affect the delta, Ramanathapuram, these belts. So they may continue to get rains. So as he said, we go into December, the rainfall chances also slowly starts to come down, and then maybe at the end of December and all, it's mostly the South Tamil Nadu, all these belts get rains. So we are seeing rains shown in the seasonal models or in the weeklies, in the monthlies till end of end of December itself, and even first week rains also some rains are shown. But for Chennai is for the North Tamil Nadu is concerned, the coming rains in the with this depression is the key rains which we expect to solve the water issues and other things.
That brings me to the question of Chennai's reservoir positions. Somehow Chennai is inching towards its average annual rainfall. We are almost there, probably just 5 more centimeters to reach 140. But somehow our catchment areas, our reservoirs were not able to capture as much inflow. What do you think went wrong, or what were the reasons behind?
Most of the rains were major spells were in the North Chennai, and particularly not in the catchment areas. It's particularly in the urbanized areas we got these spells. Maybe the mid-October depression also it gave most of the rains to the areas close to the sea and not in the upstream areas, particularly like Chambrambakam did not generate much of the heavy rainfall, or Pundi hardly any rainfall during that spell. So even though we got a record southwest monsoons 2 years in the drain, I think almost 700 mm crossed in many places. Some places even 800 mm has been crossed for the June to September season. But we didn't get these big spells. There are a lot of gaps between some spells. So they were able to improve the underwater, the groundwater a lot. I think even now, if you come to Ananagar, we can see that up to top of the well, we can see the groundwater. It's so much improvement is seen in the groundwater. But in the lakes and other things, where there needs to be a substantial heavy rainfall to generate the runoff, that did not happen because between the breaks between the rains, which we are between the heavy spells was very large. It doesn't occur in the consecutive days. So that is one of the issue I think it happened, and most of the rains happened much areas in the urbanized areas close to the sea itself. So that is one aspect we saw in this monsoon. But it's not. We have almost 70% storage in Red Hills, 56% in Chambrambakam. Pundi they did some major repairs, I think. So they have to divert some water to the downstream lakes. So that is why it is having only 15% water. Still with the good groundwater, and also with the Krishna water, 12 TMC is there, and then almost we require around 1000 MLD, 1000 to 1100 MLD. We have 110 MLD in Minjur, 100 in Nemili, and 150 now 150 is another. So 250 plus almost 350, almost 35% is from desal plants. So and then there are northern well fields is also there. So I don't think it is going to be, people are thinking we are going to go in a drought. It's not a drought here. As you rightly said, we are almost reaching our normal almost 1400 millimeters. So it is not as bad. That is because of seeing the Pundi, just because of the Pundi figure, because of some repairs which have been taken up. So maybe there is a chance this incoming spell, if it tries to cross north, maybe north of Chennai or this little bit, so we can expect the catchment areas also to get good rains. So let's see, maybe it's too early to discuss the water shortage in the month of November 25th. Maybe we can see around December 15th or December 30th and then compare. We have seen much worse. So we have already have 6 TMC of water, including the Viranam. There is very good storage in the Mettur Dam also, almost 110 feet is reaching. Almost we can expect it to, by the end of December, we can expect it to reach even close to 120 feet also. So considering all these things, we can the Viranam lake can be again refilled up 2 or 3 times also. So considering all these things, South Chennai is dependent upon diesel also. What is diesel is 150 plus 100, 250 MLDs, that is also operational. So I don't think 2025 is going to have an water shortage as been feared by the public.
But what is the ideal rain spell? இவ்வளோ வந்தால் நமக்கு இவ்வளோ ரீச் ஆக முடியும். We can go for full storage அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு. What is the ideal
See, Riddle's catchment is fills up very fast. So Riddle's, I think already 70% where it's already filled. Maybe we can expect it to reach 100%. Chambrambakam, maybe a little bit here and there. Maybe there is a chance of it to. It has a very wide.
இத்தனை நாள் மழை வேணும் அந்த மாதிரி what can we say?
Expecting 4 நாள், 4 days we are expecting rains. So this depression right from maybe 26th night or 27th morning was case, and the rain may start 27, 28, 29 and 30. 3 to 4 days we are expecting the rains to happen. It's not going to be a one day affair where the depression is going to cross perpendicularly and then move in. It is not going to be. It is going to move parallel to the coast. So parallel to the coast is always ideal for us. How much moisture it is going to retain after 4 days staying near the coast, that is a question. But still we are expecting it to pick up enough winds and then convergence of the winds. We can expect at least 3 to 4 days of spells. So whenever we have seen that in almost 3 to 4 days, at least 60 mm, 100 mm, 70, 80 mm, daily basis, if it is going to happen, it will generate some runoff. And in between one day, we can expect some heavy to very heavy rainfall, widespread 150 mm, 100 mm also can be. So I'm sorry to say the quantum and other things. Normally I don't want to specify this quantum, but there is chance of that is possibility of some very heavy rains. Even at some places there is chances of extreme rains to happen also. We never know. Last week the Rameswaram, 443 millimeters of rainfall which have happened. And the models hardly showed 50 to 80 mm. So almost 7-8 times what was predicted happened. So we never know that this kind, some extremes, whenever a system comes, a depression comes, there will be some extremes which happen at some places which cannot be predicted. We can say that there is going to be heavy rain in this stretch, but we cannot pinpoint say that extreme will happen in Marakanam or in Pondi or in Uttandi. So we cannot pinpoint and say where that extreme is going to be. That extreme can be in the upstream areas also, catchment areas. So let's hope, let's see, maybe discuss around December 10th or 15th. So let's see how much runoff the upcoming depression generates.
And that brings me to the question of the recent cloud bursts that happened in Rameshwaram. These cloud bursts and these intense short spells are becoming a little more frequent in these recent years. So what's your take on it, sir? Whether is it associated with climate change, or is it very normal is it something to do with the volatile nature of the monsoon by itself?
2022, let's take the last 3 years. 2022 saw one weak depression which came close to this Sirkali, Mailadi Delt. So almost 400, we saw that band that never moved inside. It was staying almost for 12 to 15 hours there itself. So the convergence kept happening in the same place, and almost 400 to 500 millimeters of rainfall fell in a period of less than 24 hours. 2023, you all know, the Michang cyclone. Yeah, cyclone is always associated with heavy rainfall, and a slow moving cyclone parallel to the coast. It's expected that it is going to dump such a kind of heavy rainfall. Then coming to South Tamil Nadu, Kayalpatnam 945 millimeters in a single day, Tiruchendur 600 plus, Thoothukudi also almost 600 plus. So all these were very, very unusual. That rain was, it was not even a cyclonic, it was low pressure, it was just an upper air circulation. So something that convergence, the slow movement, we everywhere we see that slow movement and the convergence is happening in the same place. So that we are seeing it repeating often and often. Even the event which happened in Rameshwaram, we see here that the convergence of means there was very weak, feeble upper air circulation down the Sri Lanka area, where the winds were converging again and again and again over the Rameswaram. So rain started from the morning, and the one extreme which was very surprising in the Rameswaram event is within 3 hours it was almost 36, 30 odd centimeters, 362 millimeters to be exact. Let's be so 36 centimeters in 3 hours is unimaginable. Downpour it should be. You would have seen that Pamban cloud and all was like as if there is no difference between cloud, and it was so dense. So that was very, very unique thing. So we have seen last 3 years or 4 years continually 400 millimeters.
Should we be more prepared for such cloudbursts?
Oh, yes, we don't know where this is going to be. So that is why we always say that even when a low pressure comes, even when the models are showing just 150 mm or 200 mm event, we never know where is the among it where is going to be that extreme is going to be. It might turn out. So that is what we bloggers, some feel that sometimes we are hyping it or something like that, but it is not that. We always see that possibility. Maybe we see that ensemble members, some members show that there is a chance of that. So not the one run of your windy app will not show everything. If you go beyond the ensembles, you can see the probability of the percentiles. So we can see that okay, some of the members are indicating there is going to be some extreme rainfall. Which is going to be. It's always it will be shown always, but when to pick it, we never know. So sometimes these extremes happen. So that trend is always happening whenever the convergence is happening in the same place with a little movement of the system. So always, whether it is Michang or the upper air circulation in the month of for Thoothukudi, that Kayalpatnam, or the present Rameshwaram, or the Srigali in 2022, that low pressure or depression was pushing them. So the all everywhere the situation is the very, very slow movement of the system and the convergence of winds happening throughout the day in the same location without any movement. So that is when we see this kind of extreme events happening. Not sure whether it is previously it was maybe 2015 we had. So always with associated with cyclones we have seen in the past, but late we have seen this December 2015 floods in Chennai. It was not even a low pressure. So it was just a trough, elongated trough. It's we call it as trough of flow, we can say. So it's not just elongated. It's not a concentrated upper air circulation or an low pressure. So that dumped so much of rainfall. Maybe okay, other things are cyclone. It is common. The one with Sirgali is also a freak event. The one with Rameshwaram is a freak. The one which happened in Kayalpatnam was also not even a low pressure. So non-cyclonic, this kind of rainfall is off late, which we have not seen previously. Previously, we know that okay, cyclone comes, we will expect this kind of heavy rainfall or extreme rainfall. So, but off late, we are seeing this just an upper air circulation or a trough giving 400 or 500 millimeters of rainfall.
To add to what PJ actually said is that why we have the platform already. The platforms have been there. The circulations, the cyclones, the depressions, we're all there, right? Now, there's one important element that's getting enhanced now, which is the ocean temperatures. North Indian Ocean, that is Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, is now possibly the warmest ocean bodies in the country, in the world. And along with the Pacific whirlpool, which actually is like what is called as a conveyor belt of energy, right? So, what's happening is that when the platform is set perfectly, like how Pradeep explained, there's a circulation, there's a convergence, there's a slow moving or a stationary event. Okay, now the warm ocean is able to provide continuous moisture, which means that an event which on a normal occasion earlier, which could have possibly extended to say 6 to 8 hours, even if say for example the circulation was stationary or it was slow moving, now is stretching for longer hours because the warmer ocean is able to keep providing that moisture and energy for the rains to continuously sustain. I mean, not just the events which Pradeep mentioned. Even Vijayawada, we saw the same similar instance where the depression was slow moving and almost stationary off AP coast. So wherever, it's not specific to even northeast monsoon. So wherever we've seen some of these depressions stay stationary, we've seen these instances. I think, like Pradeep said, if the instances are increasing on a more regular basis now, I think possibly one of the reason is the prevalence of warmer oceans around Peninsular India. And that's the reason why we need to be more careful, because we are surrounded by ocean on all three sides. Peninsular India is surrounded by ocean on all three sides, and whatever happens there is going to impact our weather events. Whether is it more frequent extreme rainfall incidents? We don't know.
So that brings me to this question about Chennai. Now, in Chennai, we are equating monsoon and announcement on rains to floods. There is this imminent fear about floods. As a blogger, what is your take on it, sir? What do you think is the role of bloggers in this to reduce the fears or alleviate fears?
See, basically, first, it's not the bloggers which create the floods. Sometimes, as I said, when it is required, maybe we see the possibility that there is a chance of an extreme event. So that only that time we create all these names and we elevate that our words and other things. So it's not a temporary thing which we see. We thought, okay, this is a platform which we can make the people understand. Before us, before the bloggers, let me put us in a common platform. No one knows what is a melodic solution. What is the convergence?
Exactly.
So we put it in a pictorial way. We explain, okay, MJO வருது நாளைக்கு ஒரு நெக்ஸ்ட் 5 டேஸ்க்கு பிரேக் இருக்குது, நெக்ஸ்ட் அதுக்கப்புறம் ஒரு நெக்ஸ்ட் ஒரு சம் ஆஃப் ரெயின்ஸ் மைட் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆர் 10 days to go, 5 days to go, அப்படிலாம் பீப்புள் கூட ஒரு இது கனெக்ட் பண்ணி அதுக்கு அது இருக்குது இல்லை. ஸோ தட் கனெக்ட் விச் வி கிவ் டு த பப்ளிக். And then the floods. So we are not hydrologists. So let us also. But for me, instance, I work in an urban environment where I am involved in the stormwater drains or the runoff for the return period. The one point which I made was maybe that was created. I said if there is going to be 20 centimeter rains, there is going to be flooding. Maybe it was taken out of misrepresented context. Because what I was trying that we need the public needs to be prepared. ஸோ நம்மளை நம்ம வீட்டுக்குள்ளே தண்ணி வரும்போது நம்ம வேறு யாரும் தடுக்க போகிறது கிடையாது. ஸோ ஒரு பெரிய மழை வரும் அப்படின்னும் போது அன்றைக்கி நம்ம ப்ரிப்பேர். ஓகே, we know in our areas so much rain has fallen means there is going to be so much of water stagnations அப்படின்றது நம்ம ஹிஸ்ட்ரியில் நம்ம பார்த்துருக்கோம். Since we live in Anna Nagar, we can say that the 100 feet road, if there is going to be 20 centimeter, one side will be closed. So it never operates. Only the one side it will always operate. It's still right now, even the last year it was the same case. Even so, it will be the same. So we have the experience to know the common man has the experience. Okay, if this is such kind of rains, there is going to be such possibility. And another point is that the stormwater drains and other whatever we have designed, it's for a 2-year return period. It's not designed for to cater a 400 meter. So even the CPHO norm says for a commercial area or an area residential, it's 2 years you put the stormwater drains. So this was the point I was saying. So in case whenever the river itself flows and a flood is 20 centimeter or there is 40 centimeter rains, whenever the river is itself flowing in an MFL, automatically there will be an impedance and then there will be a backflow from your primary channel on the road. So you would have seen in the Michang, you would have seen the water which would be coming out from that stormwater drain. So it is a point where we need to know that okay, nobody is going to come and help our house. So if this is a quantum of rainfall which is going to happen each year, I think now people have also started marking the flood levels also. Even the government building, if you go and see, you can see that 2015, 2023. So we need to be prepare ourselves, and then each and everyone we know, okay, such a rain, okay, we have to move out of this place. Maybe I have to take my family to nearby safe location. அந்த மாதிரி நம்ம குடும்பத்தை நம்ம தான் அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு எக்ஸ்ட்ரீம் ரெயின்ஸ்லாம் இல்லைல்ல அது வரட்டும் பார்த்துக்கலாம் அப்படின்றது ஒரு டிசாஸ்டரில் நிறைய பேர் இல்லை நம்ம வீட்டுக்குள்ளே வராது அப்படிலாம் இருக்கக்கூடாது. இவ்வளோ மழை பெஞ்சால் இப்படி வரும் அப்படின்றத நம்ம பாஸ்ட் ஹிஸ்ட்ரியில் நம்ம பண்ணியிருக்கோம். that will keep on. More and more urbanization is going to happen. So more and more இருக்கும்போது அந்த மாதிரி. So that is
keep coming down,
so everything is going to be the runoff, turn into a runoff. So முன்னாடி 20 years முன்னாடி the runoff percentage was only 65%. Now everything is paved. நீங்கள் மண் எடுத்துட்டு வானா என்னால் மண் எடுத்துட்டு வர முடியாது. நீங்கள் மண் இப்போ போய் எடுங்கன்னா எங்கே போய் எடுப்பீங்க? ஏன்னா everything is completely paved. ஃபுட்பாத் போட்டிருப்பாங்க, ரன் பண்ணிருப்பாங்க. ஸோ everything is going to turn into a runoff. அப்படின்னும் போது தண்ணி இப்படி தான் வரும், ஃபாஸ்ட்டாகவும் நம்ம இதுவாகும். ஸோ இந்த பிரச்சனை எல்லாம் இருக்கிறத நம்ம சொல்லியிருக்கோம். ஸோ we normally don't associate. ஸோ I also refrain that நம்ம வந்து மழை வருதுன்னு தான் நாங்கள் சொல்லுவோம். பட் அந்த கேஸில் அன்றைக்கும் நம்ம வந்து வி கிரியேட் லிட்டில் பிட் ஆஃப் அவேர்னஸ். இப்படி பெஞ்சா இப்படி இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு தவிர இன்றைக்கி நோ பிளாகர் கிவ்ஸ் தட் இஸ் கோயிங் டு பி a flood. ஃப்ளட் பின்னா அந்த டைமில் வாட் இஸ் த பவுண்டரி கண்டிஷன், அன்றைக்கி ஹை டைட் இருக்கா, அன்றைக்கி டேம் வாட்டர் ரிலீஸ் எப்படி இருக்கா, அன்றைக்கி வாட்டர் ஸ்டோரேஜ் எப்படி. ஸோ மெனி ஃபேக்டர். ஸோ நாட் எவ்ரி heavy rain is going to translate into one flood. But if it is, that is going to be a final rainfall or a very big rainfall which we are foreseeing na, 2 days consider 20 centimeter, which we anticipated on this October 15th. So already morning 20 vandirche, the next day depression has to cross, but subsequently it crossed close to Chennai, and then the bands went to Kavali. Those places got heavy rainfall. So on the for us namak rain midche north poidiche, ennur ku poidiche அப்படினா நம்ம பார்க்குறோம். But it is, even if it was little bit below, the entire rainfall would have again fallen over Chennai. So that is the probability which we are seeing. There is a probability for that 50% for that to also happen. So அந்த மாதிரி வச்சு தான் நம்ம சொல்கிறோமே தவிர ஃப்ளட்டுக்கும் பிளாகர் ஷுட் ரிஃப்ரைன் themselves and speak, okay நாளைக்கு வெள்ளம் வந்துடும் அப்படின்றத வந்து personally I feel that unless you are accustomed with all the water bodies, surface எல்லாம் பார்த்து நீங்கள் உங்களுக்கு you are involved in your இந்த மாதிரி நீங்கள் run off and other studies, நீங்கள் if you are personally experienced, then you can speak about it. Other than you should refrain from speaking all these heavy rains public. You say that is going to be heavy rains, don't say that the flood is going to come. So that might create panic.
Question to Mr. Shrikant. So as a blogger, what is the key challenge now that you face, and how do you tackle it?
I think the biggest challenge in last mile communication is how do you educate people on probability, right? So the weather events are never a certainty. You expect a certain event to happen, there is a chance that it might happen, there's a chance that there could be heavy rains or extremely heavy rains, whatever it is, right? So when you use the word likely, right, more often than not the likely seems to have been erased. The rest of the inference is taken, saying that okay, extremely heavy rains is coming, right? Likely to come becomes coming there. The context changes. How do we educate people on probability? Now you either wait until there's complete concurrence and say okay, there's an extreme rainfall event, but that could be too close to the event. People can't prepare, right? The second challenge is like how I did in my latest post, 6 out of 10 alarms for tornadoes in US is a false alarm. Only 4 out of 10 is a success. Okay, their efforts are to minimize that number. They are also not talking of 10 out of 10, right? So when you say that there is a possibility that there could be heavy rains, it may or may not happen. Now how do you explain to people that it has not happened, but that does not mean the next event will also not happen, right? So the challenge here is people assume that you said 3 times rainfall is expected to happen, 2 times it did not happen, only once it happened. So the success rate is 1:3. I mean, there's nothing called success rate here. The whole objective is that if I need to be prepared, I need to be ready at a certain time point, right? For example, like Pradeep said, if somebody has to evacuate their house, they can evacuate only when it is possible for them to step out of the house and move wherever to a safe places. Now, if they are in deep water in the road or at their house, I don't think that's the time when somebody can evacuate safely out of their house, right? So if you have to tell them, then you have to tell them that okay, it's say 5 days in advance or 7 days in advance. That's the biggest challenge. I think there is some positive change towards it. People are now associating more with that a certain event could happen, may not happen. But yes, as you have one set of people, you educate one set of people, there will be a fresh set of people who will come back and say that boss, போன முறை நீங்கள் சொன்னீங்க வரவே இல்லை, நான் வீட்டில் எல்லாத்தையும் சொல்லி எல்லாத்தையும் வாங்கி வச்சு எல்லாம் வேஸ்ட்டாக போச்சு. It's not like that, isn't it?
to Mr. Pradeep and to Mr. Srikanth. Pradeep, of late, compared to when you started out, of late you've been coining a lot of words like red takali, KTCC, and many others. So, how do you do it, and what do you think is the feedback?
No, standing apart is a curse, it is not a blessing. So it is not the planned one or anything. So red takali, it's not which I thought, okay, I should keep name. So when we say radar, it was like a dark red, that patch, intense storms is come. So maybe I thought, okay, this takali, like that I accidentally posted, and then automatically people started, okay, sir, next red takali. This is during thunderstorms. KTCC, everyone knows now. I think even administrator, everyone is saying next train is for when is there for KTCC. Before it was KTC. So that was also okay. ஒரு ஷார்ட் ஃபார்மில் நம்ம கூப்பிட்டு இது பண்ணால் எப்படி இருக்கும் மக்களுக்கு. ஸோ தட் ஆல்சோ ஆட் அ பீப்புள் டு கனெக்ட். ஸோ நம்ம வந்து ஒரு மக்களுக்கு நம்ம சொல்லும் போது இன்னைக்கு டமால் டுமில் இருக்கும், இன்றைக்கி பிரிச்சு மேயுது, அப்படிலாம் ஒரு நல்ல லாங்குவேஜில் நம்ம அவங்களோட கனெக்ட் பண்ணும்போது, ஸோ தட் இஸ் வேர் வி என்ஜாய் பிளாகிங். ஸோ ஐ எம் மிஸ்ஸிங் தீஸ் டேஸ். நம்ம எது போட்டாலுமே ஒரு கூட்டம் வந்து இப்போ அந்த இது எடுத்து. ஸோ ப்ரீவியஸ்லி ஐ திங்க் லாஸ்ட் 8-9 years வேர் ஸோ என்கரேஜிங் பண்ணுங்க இப்படின்னு. பட் நவ் நமக்கு வந்து அந்த ஸோ ஒரு என்ஜாய் நம்ம பண்ணும்போது தீஸ் டேர்ம்ஸ் அண்ட் ஆல் வில் கெட் டெவலப்ட். நம்ம மக்களுக்கு வந்து தைரியமாக இது மாதிரி சொல்லலாம், அப்படிலாம் வந்து தீஸ் திங்ஸ் ஹேப்பன். ஸோ when we enjoy, do what we happen and then blog. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி காயின் பண்ணுறது அண்ட் கனெக்ட் வித் த பீப்புள் ஆல்சோ ரிமெம்பர், சார் நெக்ஸ்ட் ஈவெண்ட் இப்படி இருக்கும், அது வந்து காற்று இல்லாமல் இருக்குமா, இடிமின்னல், எனக்கு இடிமின்னல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் பயம் சார், டமால் டிமில் இருக்குமா இருக்காதா. ஸோ பீப்புள் ஆர் ஏபிள் டு கனெக்ட் தெம் செல்ஃப் டு தட் ஈவெண்ட். அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு கனெக்ஷன் மக்களுக்கு அது வரும்ல, நமக்கு பிளான் பண்ணி பண்ணல, பட் அந்த மாதிரி ஷார்ட் ஃபார்ம் கொடுத்தா மக்களுக்கு வந்து தெரிஞ்சிடும். இப்போ எந்த கொஸ்டின் நீங்கள் போடுங்க, சென்னைலாம் ரொம்ப ரேர் தான், 90% 95% they will come and say, சார் கேடிசி கேப்போ அப்படி தான் வந்து பீப்புள் கேட்குறாங்க. ஸோ இட் இஸ் சம்திங் விச் கேம் அவுட் ஆஃப் ஜாய் விச் வென் வாஸ் பிளாகிங். அதே மாதிரி எங்கள் பிளாகர் கமிட்டியில் எல்லாருமே கேடிசி போடுவாங்க. ஸோ அவங்களும் அதே மாதிரி எவ்ரி ஒன் ஸ்டார்டட் டு யூஸிங் த டேர்ம். ரெட் தக்காளின்றது நிறைய பேர், சார் எனக்கு ரொம்ப அந்த தக்காளி ரொம்ப பிடிச்சிருக்கு சார், நீங்கள் சம்டைம்ஸ் சொல்வீங்க தக்காளி புஷ் ஆகிடுச்சு லேண்ட் ஆகலை. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி நம்ம சம்டைம்ஸ் டாம்ஸ் கம் நியர் த சென்னை பவுண்ட்ரி அண்ட் தென் இட் டிசிபேட்ஸ். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி நம்ம மக்களுக்கு வந்து கொஞ்சம் அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேட்டராக வந்து ஒரு ஐஎம்டி ஆள் வந்து சொல்ல முடியாது தான். பட் again, it is not our intention blogger to be a competitor to an IMD or anyone. So we term this, it's a fun way. We love rains, we see the rains, next spell அப்போ நெக்ஸ்ட் ஹெவி ரெயின். இப்போ ஈவன் கூட இந்த டிப்ரெஷன் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அதில் என்ன சேஞ்ச் வந்திருக்குது, க்ளவுட்ஸ் கொஞ்சம் சென்டர் ஷிஃப்ட் ஆயிருக்கா, இல்லை கொஞ்சம் வெஸ்ட் ஷிஃப்ட் ஆயிருக்கா, கொஞ்சம் 50 கிலோமீட்டர் ஷிஃப்ட் ஆனால் கூட போனோம் அப்படியே பாயிண்ட் வச்சு பார்ப்போம், இப்படி ஷிஃப்ட் ஆயிருந்தால் கூட ஓகே க்ளவுட்ஸ் இன்னும் இன்லேண்டில் வரும். ஸோ வி சி திஸ் மைக்ரோ லெவல் சேஞ்சஸ், we see various models. இதோட இனிஷியல் கண்டிஷனில் லோ பொசிஷன் எங்கே இருக்குது, மாடல்ஸு ஆக்சுவலாக சேட்டலைட்டில் இதே டைம்லைனில் எங்கே இருக்குது, யார் கரெக்டாக பிக் பண்ணுறான் இந்த ட்ரெண்டை, இந்த க்ளவுட்ஸ் அப்படி இது வச்சு இதோட பார்த்துட்டு எது கரெக்டாக வருது. ஸோ வெதர் இஸ் ஜிஎஃப்எஸ் இஸ் பிக்கிங் ஆர் இசிஎம்எஃப் இஸ் பிக்கிங், இந்த மாதிரி விண்ட் இங்கே வரும்போது எந்த இடத்துலலாம் முன்னாடி பெஞ்சிருக்கு, வி ரிமெம்பர் ஆல் த மேஜர் ரெயின்ஃபால் ஈவெண்ட்ஸ். இட்ஸ் லைக் எவ்ரி திங் இன் அவர் மெமரி. நீங்கள் என்றைக்கு கேட்டிங்கனாலும் பழைய எந்த ரெயின்ஃபால்னாலும் ஐ கேன் ஏபிள் டு டெல் எவ்ரி திங் அக்ராஸ் ஈவன் டூரிங் சவுத் வெஸ்ட் மான்சூன். நீங்கள் கேள்வியே பட்டிருக்க மாட்டீங்க. தெர் இஸ் அ பிளேஸ் கால்டு நீங்கள் மாத்தாங்கிரி இன் அசாம் ஆர் அலிப்பூர் துவார் இன் வெஸ்ட் பெங்கால். ஸோ இது சாமா இன் உத்தராகண்ட். அதெல்லாம் நீங்கள் வந்து யூ நாட் இமேஜின் தட் வி ஆர் ட்ராக்கிங் திஸ் பிளேசஸ், பட் வி டூ ட்ராக் திஸ் ரெகுலர்லி. அங்கே எப்படி வரும், ஈவன் இன் நவ் இன் அண்டமான், அன்கவுரி, ஆல் தீஸ் பிளேசஸ் எல்லாம் நாங்கள் ட்ராக் பண்ணுவோம். ஸோ வி லவ் ரெயின்ஸ், வி ட்ராக் that passionately. Small wind patterns. It's not like you're just seeing a windy app, பார்த்துட்டு நாளைக்கு மழை வருமா வராதுன்னு. இட்ஸ் நாட் ஸோ சிம்பிள். இட்ஸ் நாட் ரியலி ஸோ சிம்பிள் unless you are dedicated and see every run, every changes, the micro level changes, you will not able to grasp. அப்படியே நீங்கள் ஒரு பாயிண்டில் பார்க்கும்போது உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், சார்ட் பார்த்தோன்னே ஓகே இப்படி வருது, அப்படி பார்த்தோன்னே நீங்கள் சொல்லிடுவீங்க இது இப்படி மழை இருக்குது, இல்லை மிஸ் ஆயிடும் அப்படின்றத you will be able to visualize yourself in your mind and say. ஸோ அந்த நேரத்தில் நம்ம ஒரு பிளாகிங் பண்ணும்போது அந்த ஹாப்பினஸோட பண்ணும்போது we will be able to connect with the people. அதை வந்து don't see us நீ சொல்லிட்டியே அப்படி இல்லைன்னா we are there. So we are sacrificing so much of time. It's very high stressful. ஒரு லைன் போடணுன்னா கூட அதை யோசித்து போடணும். அது எதாவது மிஸ் ஆகிடுச்சுன்னா எப்படி மிஸ்ரெப்ரசன்ட் பண்ணிப்பாங்களா, ஓ இந்த வேர்டு போன வாட்டி போடும்போது இப்படி அசியூம் பண்ணிக்கிட்டாங்க, ஸோ ஐ ஹவ் டு அவாய்ட் தட் வேர்ட். ஸோ நவ் வி ஆர் வெரி எவ்ரிதிங் இஸ் அப்படியே ரொம்ப ஸ்க்ரூட்டனைஸ் ஆகுது.
Thank you for that elaborate answer. And back to Mr. Srikanth, you have also been following this trend of memes, isn't it? Your posts are known for its detailed analysis. Now you've also digressed, and now the most recent being Nadigar Tilagam used for your meme. So how is the feedback from your followers for who are actually have seen you only as a serious analyst of weather?
I think for some they assume I'm serious, but it is very irregular. நான் ரொம்பலாம் போடுறதே கிடையாது. Maybe in a season ஒரு 3-4 times போடுவேன், அவ்வளவுதான். அதுக்கு மேலலாம் கிடையாது.
ஒத்துக்கப்பா சீரியஸ்லின்ட்டு. என்னோட நிறைய பேர் பிளாக் பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க.
But always for me, I had thought of as okay, visually present பண்ணுவோம், pictorial representation பண்ணுவோம், முடிஞ்ச வரைக்கும் try to explain as much as possible. That's how I've always been. Sometimes occasionally it's not that I'm a very serious person by nature. All of us have a bit of comic sense in us. So அப்போ வந்து போடுறது, plus any which way the last couple of weeks there was not much you can explain. Yes. So just to break the monotony, sometimes people do appreciate, as you rightly say. Sometimes I think there are times when somebody I think had asked, sir, நீங்க என்ன PJ copy பண்றீங்களா? Nothing like that. I mean, I still remember. I think one of my first memes was for during Cyclone Gaja, when the satellite image was almost like an elephant. So அதுதான் way back பண்ணது. I do very regularly. I don't do regularly. Sometimes good feedback, but generally நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி I prefer to do the detailed way. That's how I have been always.
They don't want to read paragraph.
I mean, you put 10 பேஜ் போட்டா கூட சார் மழை வருமா, அவ்வளவுதான். That is always the question.
10 பேஜ் நாங்க 5 லைன் போட்டு அதுல சென்னைக்கு ரெயின்ஸ்னு போட்டுருப்போம். ஆனா கீழே வந்து சென்னைக்கு வருமா சார் அப்படின்னு கேட்பாங்க.
இல்லை நீங்கள் வந்து ஒரு ராடர் இமேஜ் போட்டு இங்கே மழை பெய்யுதுன்னு கேட்டால் திருச்சி சான்ஸ், சேலம் சான்ஸ் அப்படின்வாங்க. But the point is that the reason why they ask is that they need a certain information which is not available. I think that is what bloggers fulfill. With bloggers, most of the time they get answers. Because we know, okay, there is a reason why they are asking. Some of it is frivolous. I mean, all of us know. Pradeep சொன்ன மாதிரி சில பேர் பிளாக் பண்ண வேண்டிய அவசியம் இருந்துச்சுன்னா பிளாக் பண்ண வேண்டியது இருக்கு.
Thank you so much for being with us.